Good morning. Welcome back to the Sorry is True podcast. It's your boy. Is this going to be a controversial stream? Are people going to be upset at this? Are people going to give me backlash? Are people going to get in my comments and curse me out? ARP, you this, you that, you wrong, you that. I don't know. I don't know. We did cover some of this the other day. His co-defendant, his alleged half brother, Max B, right? Pooh Sims, he sent out some paperwork, or it was like a cover page, and it was real blurry. I brought it up from an Instagram account that posted it. I said, I can't read nothing. I don't see nothing. I don't know what that means. Why would he only send that out? Does nothing for us. Let Max B continue to have the best coming home in hip hop history, right? Walked away. Dude also was telling the public, on Thanksgiving, it's up. I'm releasing paperwork. And what did I even say on yesterday's stream? I was just like, nothing happened. Thanksgiving came and went. I ain't see nothing. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. I'm leaving that alone, man. I ain't even trying to, go find some paperwork or go find some more details. Dude, co-defendant, you said you had something, nothing came. It appears something has came now, though. I don't know if it's real paperwork. I do want to put that disclaimer out there. We're going to read what the guy, Pooh Sims, Max B's alleged co-defendant, right? That's serving, I believe, life right now. We're going to read what just hit the internet. Then I'm going to pull up some old paperwork from, I believe, Pooh Sims' appeal or an attempt at a retrial. We're going to pull that up as well. I found that this morning real quick, easy search. I'm going to pull up some history, including some other dips and Max B. I'm going to tell you what I think this means. And I'm also going to tell you what could happen behind all of this. I also want to say shout out to my guy, Doggy Diamonds. I believe he had Pooh Sims on before. Shout out to Gully TV. I heard that he covered some Max B stuff before and got a shitstorm, a wave, pun intended, of backlash. Who else? We've seen Whack 100 recently, right? But Whack 100 has killed his credibility based on the way he just goes after things sometimes. So you always got to take his shit with a grain of salt. All right, let's start to look through this, though, man. I don't know. All right, first up, we got the Pooh Sims new joint that came out. I'm gonna actually go on the smaller screen for y'all for this one. Max B brother releases paperwork on Max B. Let me read the caption, and then we're going to go to the actual document. Max B younger brother Pooh Sims released alleged paperwork on Max B today. He is claiming that he pled innocent and claimed he wasn't there, but Max and other co-defendants took deals against him, placing him at the scene and making it hard to defend himself against the cops' allegations because of their deals allegedly. Everyone on the murder case is home except him. Till this day, he is still claiming he is innocent. And any thoughts on this situation? Now, before we go to the document on the next page, people, him being the only one that's not home yet doesn't create a huge alarm for me, right? Max B is home, served 18 years. We tend to hear 18 years and think like, yeah, you served your punishment, your legal punishment, right? The ex-girlfriend that allegedly got, the information to Max, and Max was allegedly orchestrating it, whatever, she's home. But whether it was our stream covering it, we also saw 1090 Jake covering it. We all pulled up documents that pretty much showed that she was the one that did a majority of the cooperation. Okay, if not all of it, from what we saw at that point. Then when you have Pooh Sims here, we believe, I'll still say alleged. I just want to be careful as possible with some of this stuff, that he was the actual shooter. Okay. So if you have Max B, who's not there, and he allegedly orchestrates it, you have the woman that provides the drop, provides the information. Here's this guy. She was on the scene as well. She was there at the hotel, I believe, right? Allegedly. But the person that pulls the trigger, so I'm not shocked that he gets a different sentence. But this is what comes out. So I assume that this is his caption at the top. You pled not guilty and went to trial 2009. 7 years later, 2009. 7 years later, 2016. You pleaded guilty saying what you were supposed to do, question mark. In that, I'm miserable, shaking my fucking head. Guess that's how you justify backdooring your brother. That is completely innocent. So he's been maintaining his innocence, and we're definitely going to show that again in some paperwork I'm going to bring up after this document. Let's read the document. Okay. It appears to be possible court minutes of when allegedly Max B is being questioned. I don't know if this is in an interrogation room or if this is on the stand or if this is something that happens in private. I'm not sure. But an answer or a question here. All right. And do you understand that? Question mark. Answer. Yes. Question. All right. So now I'm going to ask you some questions about the offenses. First, I'm going to have you go back to the day before that, September the 21st of 2006. On or about that day, did you have a conversation with two of the other people that you're charged with in this indictment, Gina Marie Conway and Kelvin Leardom? Now, real quick, people, and we're going to go to this paperwork in a second, but I got it in the background. Kelvin Leardom is Pooh Sims. Kelvin Leardom, a.k.a. Sims, a.k.a. Pooh, a.k.a. Kelvin Anton Leardom. Same person, all right? Answer, yes, I did. Question, all right, and I want to focus for the moment. Kelvin Leardom is your half-brother? Is that correct? Answer, yes. Let me stop there for a second. Because if this document was real, if it's real, people could ask the question, how do I know that this is Max answering these questions? We already saw, allegedly, that the girlfriend Gina cooperated and told on everybody. So how do I know that these answers aren't from her? Well, that question right there is what would show it. All right. And I want to focus for the moment. Kelvin Leardom is your half brother. Is that correct? Answer, yes. So who's the half brother? Allegedly, Max B. Okay. Not the girlfriend. Okay. Next document. And at the top, it says Wingate. This is now page 14, I believe. Answer, yes. So something was skipped, possibly. Question, Mr. Leardom was going to go over to the state of New Jersey, and he along with Gina Conway, were going to try to steal money from the couple of individuals. Answer, yes. Question, all right. Now the individuals we're talking about are David Taylor and Alan Plowden. Is that correct? Answer, yes. Question, all right. And you've indicated to me that back in September of 2006, it was your understanding that these two men, David Taylor and Alan Plowden, would routinely have with them in their possession large amounts of cash. Is that your understanding? Answer, yes. Question, all right. And that reason why these two individuals were specifically targeted for a theft by yourself and Mr. Leardom and Mr. Conway? Answer, yes. Next document page. All right, so we're staying there. Let's get into a couple disclaimers before I move on from that document that we just read, those screenshots that we just read. Number one, we're not on the official docket. All right. If I was on the official docket, or we had paperwork in us from one of many, or I shouldn't say many, one of multiple very credible sources of paperwork, i.e. a PACER. We're going to go into Justia. Justia.law is a pretty credible source. And there's some other ones that we've used and we've covered over time, right? But I like to throw that little grain of salt out there, that little hesitance, right? But normally, at the top of these docket entries, right? For each page, we see at the top, we see a docket number, we see a date, sometimes even the district that the court is in. Now, this could be just cut at the top. It even looks like it's on an angle. So this is maybe a picture of somebody holding or putting the paperwork down and taking a picture of it. If it's real, And do all districts and all courts have that at the top? And is this the top of the paperwork? I don't know. I just want to throw out little small things just in case. There's always the possibility that paperwork could be doctored or fake. There are those possibilities, okay? But there's also the possibility of it being real. Here's one thing that makes me say, ooh, and it seems small. When you see doctored paperwork, there's a lot of exaggerations in it. There's a lot of fluff in it, right? One thing that I don't like to see is the very simplistic answers. Answer, yes. Answer, yes. Answer, yes. Answer, yes. This whole page in front of us. Just so, you want to know why we see that in real situations a lot. One is because your lawyer advises you to answer as simple as possible. Don't open up the floodgates. Don't give any more information than what you're being asked. The prosecutor, the detective, somebody, whoever, whoever you negotiated with to do a deal, allegedly, of course, asks you, were you at the hotel on the night in question? Don't say, yeah, but I got there at 12:01 instead. And don't do none of that. Simple answers. Your lawyers will give you that type of advice. Don't give extra shit. Don't open yourself up to more things. Another thing is, let's be real. People that are being interrogated or investigated, not investigated, interrogated, or they're in the middle of these pleas, they also think that they help themselves streetwise or even morally to just be simple, you know? It don't be the whole like, so were you in the car? Yeah, but it just be the yes, ma'am. Those are the two things that you see consistently in real situations, and that is happening right here in this screenshot, fake paperwork or real paperwork. Okay. So those are the disclaimers I want to give for this. Do I go to the Justia next, or do I tell you whether this would be ratting or not? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that first. Justia next. We all see what happens out there, especially on this podcast. We cover a lot of paperwork, a lot of legal situations. I gave a little bit more extra care, for example, to like the Sue Surf one because I know the guy. And I do give a little bit more either reservation or more application to people from battle rap. People I don't know, I just try to be responsible. That's what I try to do. I try to be as respectful and responsible as possible. I don't know no Max B. Just being responsible as possible. Okay. But remove Max B. If you show me paperwork that is real from anybody and they answer yes to these questions, I understand the rules have been moved all over the place. The goalpost is on the other opposite side of the field. I understand based on if you see people like academics, they say snitching these days comes down to whether we like the person or not. Right? It's some real shit. Like it's different. The Omerta mafia shit is you're not even allowed to talk. You can't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But this right here, it would be telling if it was real. Okay. So I'm just gonna keep saying we don't know if this is real or not. We don't know. Okay. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. As far as if the co-defendant continued his fight, this to me, from what I read, doesn't have anything that says that Max B is good or if he's bad. It's just showing what that caption is upholding, that he was always fighting. Okay. So this is on justia.law, and you see the state of New Jersey, plaintiff respondent versus Kelvin Leardom, aka Sims, aka Pooh, aka Kelvin Anton Leardom. Defendant appellate. Okay. Once again, appellate. Okay. Here you go. Appellate. He's appealing. Argued September 23rd, 2019. Decided December 9th, 2019 before judge, yada, yada, yada. On appeal from the Superior Court of New Jersey. Okay. Let's just search Wingate in here for a second. That's all we're gonna do. I'm not gonna do too much because appeals happen for multiple reasons. All right, here's the first entry of Wingate. The facts of the underlying crime, which we glean from the trial evidence presented by the state, including the testimony of Gina Conway, are once again, including the testimony of Gina Conway. This is what my people like myself and 1090 and a bunch of people walked away with a couple weeks ago. Like, the only paperwork and stuff we're seeing online is that the ex-girlfriend was the one that did the cooperating, right? I'll still say allegedly. Are extensively set forth in our opinion, affirming defendant's conviction and sentence, State versus Wingate. Okay, so he's getting told on too. Two, and reprised by the motion judge in his written decision. We will not fully repeat them here. All right, let's go to Wingate again, right here. After leaving Plowden on September 21st, 2006, Conway met Charlie Wingate, who was also indicted on the same counts as defendant and was jointly tried. His sister, yada, 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 yada. Okay, let's go to the next entry of Wingate. There's only 9 in here where we see his name. With defendant at a basketball court in Manhattan at around 11 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. when Conway told Wingate about Plowden's cash. Wingate said he was going to get them. Conway interpreted that to mean Wingate was going to take Plowden's money. Okay. The state also presented evidence that Wingate called defendant who arrived at the basketball court less than 5 minutes after the call. Defendant later left with Conway in a taxi Wingate ordered. Okay. Where else? Anywhere else? Do we have Wingate? We have him here. Okay. During the subsequent investigation, police recovered proceeds from the robbery and 2 Holiday Inn key cards from the residence of the person Conway knew, at which she left them. After her arrest, Conway gave a statement to the police implicating defendant and Wingate. Once again, the ex-girlfriend. Okay. She later testified against them at trial and pleaded guilty to manslaughter and armed robbery. Okay. Any other entries of his name? I think there might be one more. Was that? Yeah, here we go. Okay. The affidavits are arguably material to defendant's contention that he was not at the basketball court with Wingate and Coleman, but the evidence merely impeaches Conway's testimony that he was. Let me read a little bit more after that, just in case. As such, it is cumulative, impeaching, and contradictory, echoing the trial testimony of defense witness Shamel Foy, who said defendant was not at the basketball court that evening. From what we breezed over right there, and also pulling up Max B's name, his entries in the appeal, everything that we see just from that little quick look over, people, is that the appeal from the guy Pooh Sims is that this whole thing is based on a meeting at a basketball court where the drop is being given up, and he's appealing that he wasn't at the game, and we just keep seeing the ex-girl, the ex-girl, the ex-girl. Okay. So this was once again filed when? Because Max's case goes back to like 2006, 2009. This is the appeal filed, argued September 23rd, 2019, and it was decided upon. Obviously, he was denied December 9th, 2013, a couple months later. Okay, so this is an appeal from, I want to assume 10 years later. Hold on. When was Max B arrested for, I'm going to say, conspiracy for robbery and murder? What was he convicted of? I forget. Let me see what year. I really feel like they're going to say either 2009 or 2006. Yeah, September 29th, 2006. Okay, cool. So if we're at 2026, this is 13 years later. I don't see anything in the appeal 13 years later that is calling out misdoings, lies from another co-defendant, for example, Wingate, aka Max B. I don't see that here. 13 years later, by now, if I'm appealing and if I felt like Max B did me dirty, I'd have put that in here by now, right? That's what tends to happen. And that's one thing that I hate about those documents that we just saw, which is that there's no dates at the top of them, and there's no docket number and all that type of stuff at the top. I wish we could see that. Okay, let's stop here for a second. let's go into the whole telling thing and what the aftermath of this paperwork would be if it was real, right? I want to use the example because I mentioned earlier, I said, other dips. Respectfully, but this is all hip hop history. It's been out there for years. I don't know if it's a sore point for some people, right? I'm just a historian and I just happen to remember a lot of this shit, okay?
Shout to the nigga checking. Shout to that snitch ass nigga, Freaky Zeke, right? Nigga got shot and got subpoenaed, and you told on them niggas that bucked you up, nigga. You faggot, nigga. You not wavier than the wavy man, nigga. I got a better car, I got better songs, I look better, I got more bitches, nigga. I just live better than you, nigga. I'm the best, nigga. You niggas sitting around under. Shout to the nigga checking. Shout.
All right. He was he was on his shit, right, Matt?
She loves me. She loves me now. She loves me. She loves me now. She loves me. Cause she loves Matt. She touched it in Miami. Freaky Zeke's a snitch. Jim Jones is now a snitch. Niggas telling on niggas and all that. Told on that nigga Zoo. He on the run. You told on him. Dry snitch. Freaky Zeke, you another snitch. You ain't got.
Okay. So what made me bring that up today? In the midst of us looking at this document that was put out by his co-defendant and trying to break down what's what, what's real, what's not. I had a conversation this morning with somebody that knows all parties involved, like knows all of these people, Pooh, Matt, everybody, right? And when we were talking about what would happen if the paperwork was true or if it was real, we had a little quick debate about it. Like would people care? Would people not care? Would people sweep it under the rug? Because Max B definitely is having the best coming home that I think I've ever seen. Real shit. The person that I was talking to mentioned, like, remember when there was allegations of like Freaky and it went nowhere. And this is what my response was. I said, in my opinion, because I was there in these times watching all this shit play out on the DVDs and the mixtapes and everything. I said, in my opinion, the Freaky Zeke allegations and talk that a lot of people brought up and people to this day still bring up. Freaky Zeke obviously survived all of it. And one of the reasons why he survived all of it was his cosigns. In my opinion, his cosigns were some of the biggest artists on the scene at that time. Cam was one of them. Cam got lyrics like, Freak snitched, if he did, I'll be doing 100 years. These are Cam's lyrics. And they continue to stand right next to him and say, he's good, he's with us, no ratting, no snitching, right? And then it just becomes, if you really feel that way, then go move something to do something, right? This was my continued, discussion point with somebody I was talking to this morning. I said, the times are different. And when I say the times are different, the rappers, those celebrities, they don't run the consensus anymore because it is a follow world on the internet. If a bunch of people come out and say Max B didn't rat, the consensus and the sheep of the world, because there's only a low percentage of actual leaders, will say, nah, he's good. But if especially popular people come out and say he's dirty, he's bad, right? Then people will go that direction. That's the internet, and that's how it is, and that's how a lot of the sheep in the room are, right? The big difference today is these celebrities that would co-sign you and still hang around you and still show the fans that's going to follow their favorite rappers. They don't follow that anymore. You want to know where they get their information from? You want to know where they get their truth from? It's crazy because we kind of spoke about this yesterday on the Sue Surf clip. Go check that out. It dropped yesterday, right? It's the bloggers and the podcasters now. And the ones that develop good credibility, good sources of information, have some intelligence, learn a lot while covering a lot of this stuff, they're the ones that we go to now as our source of truth. You know how many celebrities and rappers are scared to death of 1090 Jake. They all hit him up behind the scenes, all of them. All of them. You got people like Lil Boosie that's like, thank you, 1090 Jake, for this or for that. They thank him, they praise him. If he's on you, they hate him. That's today's world now, okay? Said that. If this paperwork, even if it's fake, if you get the 1090 Jakes and the academics to come out and say, Max B is bad, Max B has a problem. That's the era that we're in today. The 1090 Jakes of the world will possibly go and try to even find, he has his resources to go and find more. Now, 1090 already did coverage of this, and he was just like, yo, I just got the paperwork, or I got, articles or whatever of the girlfriend telling, But as far as Max, he's good. I think a lot of people from what we saw, we said he's good. Okay. This is opening up a new can of worms. And I want to continue to say, we don't know if these documents that was just released are real or not. But if you have a 1090 Jake and the academics and podcasters like that coming out and saying it's real, he has a problem. Now, there's something else I brought up in the background, because if it was real, where's it been this whole time? All right. Where's it been? Never forget, people, there are multiple situations for having sealed documents, sealed court documentation. Let's bring it up in the background. Was it possibly sealed is something that I asked as I was doing some research on this. However, according to New Jersey law and court rules, many types of documents are explicitly excluded from public disclosure. These include discovery materials, police reports, witness statements, internal memos, investigative materials not filed in open court, grand jury evidence, unexecuted warrants, or documents under protective orders, transcripts or hearing records that the court orders sealed specifically for sensitive evidence or informant protection. Informant protection. Given the serious nature of this case, violent robbery / murder, it's likely that some or many of the investigative materials, including police interview footage, witness interviews, internal documents, were kept sealed or remain part of discovery and not part of the public filed court record. So when we say we've seen a lot of the public records for Max B, hell, we just pulled one up related to his co-defendant, right? On justnia.law, publicly accessible right there for a fucking Google. That's it. So where's the docket? Where's the docket? Is it? Remember, I'm not saying this is the case with Max, but it's always a possibility in situations like this. We tend to review some of these dockets and we be thinking, we expect it to be sealed if there's a minor involved, or come back and at least redact, possibly seal, if there's a bunch of discovery information that, the lawyers fight for, like get that out of the public consumption, like numbers, metrics, money, addresses, some names that aren't part of things and you want to hide or whatever. The informant thing is absolutely, like, even on Lil Durk's docket right now that we've been covering all the way up to his trial, we're going to stay on top of it. Even with his docket, every once in a while you see things hit that and it's sealed and it's like, oh, can't read that. God knows what it is. Doesn't mean jump out the window and say, oh, that's got to be a snitch. That's got to be a minor. That's got to be the money number, right? You don't know. You don't know. Okay. So then how does this document, if it was real, make it out to the public? Like we read, some of this stuff is always going to be available via discovery. Now, I'll give you examples of like even my own experiences, right, in legal proceedings. Okay. You could have things that would be sealed for public consumption, but the lawyers have access to the discovery documents, right? Most lawyers, they're very scared to give their clients or anybody things that are marked AEO, attorney's eyes only. Hell, they won't even tell them sometimes, let alone give them a document. Like, they won't even tell them, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, the other side, they sent me some discovery items and the documents show that the contract actually was 20.4 million. Sometimes they won't even tell the client, because if you could find out that the information gets out, you can get yourself in trouble. The lawyer could lose their license. All types of shit can happen. Fuck up the case. A lot could happen behind that. No lawyer is going to try to jeopardize their livelihood, or their, well, I shouldn't say no lawyer, but a lot of lawyers ain't going to jeopardize their livelihood or their license to practice law because they want to give their one in a lifetime possible client some information that legally they're not supposed to. But it happens. It happens. Now there are situations where you have the right to see or know your accusers, just like what Little Dirk is fighting right now, right? He's fighting to have his witnesses revealed before the trial, right? Prosecution is going for the anonymous jury, and obviously he'll be able to see them at trial and hear these people at trial, right? But there's a lot of legalities around this shit, and even in discovery, there are times where the defendant is allowed to see and know certain things, or there's times where the lawyer might say, look, man, you didn't pressure me, or you didn't ask me, or you didn't beg me, or I don't care, I feel bad about this situation, you ain't get this from me. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Because that document that we pulled up, because it's on an angle, to me, that's when somebody takes a picture. Okay? It's just not a straight picture. What took dude so long to put this out if it was real? Let's go there. It would have to be tied to Max B's coming home, right? Because if it's simply about, yo, I got did dirty, I always want to maintain my innocence that I didn't do this type of shit. And this guy gave a bunch of yeses in his answers to detectives or whatever, and I got the discovery of his minutes or his interrogation. I got the whole breakdown of it, and he fucked me over. And I want people to know that he fucked me over. I don't know. But I definitely stand on the opinion that if you get the 1090 Jakes and the academics of the world to come, especially 1090 Jake. What a funny world we live in right now, where it's just like that is going to matter that much. 1090 Jake comes out and says, Max B is a this, or it's game changing. Okay. As far as it being game changing, how ironic would something like this be? This is. I'm not even trying to be funny, and I do got a video that we're gonna play related to Max in a second too. Max and Jim. Hold on. What is this noise I'm hearing? Hold on, y'all. I'm getting some background noise on my joint. Get some background noise on my joint. On my Bluetooth. All right. How ironic would this be, y'all? I'm not trying to be funny. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be funny. Turn a little bit of music on for a second. Sugar ow. Max B only been out for 2 weeks, and he's already modeling brands like Spider. You see the correlation, right? How crazy would that be? Because now let's talk briefly about the impact if this was true. The impact. A Spider is owned or co-founded or founded by Young Thug, right? He went through a lot of shit this year as far as the whole telling, allegations, and whatnot. And that company go ahead and has Max B as a sponsor. This could be one of few things that Max B has for ongoing money right now, right? Imagine 1090J comes out and he gets his hands on some official dockets and so I don't know, some sealed shit to discover. I don't know. All right. And he comes out, he says, I'm sorry, people, but your favorite come home rapper of all time, Max B, isn't right. Just imagine. Okay. Technically, all these rappers and all these people are not supposed to stand next to him because it's visible, it's public, right? He doesn't have any albums out that's been making him money while he was away, right? Well, like he had record label issues with Jim Jones, right? Like ownership and rights, and can't even put out music before he went in. That was one of the reasons why they were so publicly at war. Like, he was so about let me go and stop me from making money. I gotta make my money other ways, or what, doing shows and shit. So how was Max B making money while he was in jail? If you ask me, he wasn't. He didn't have nothing that was generating money. He came home to a bunch of situations and a bunch of his network. I think French is one, and that's dope. We all need friends like that. You come home, maybe here's a crib, maybe here's a car, here's some jewelry. We going out to the Jets game. Here's a little shopping spree. Let's get you cleaned up. Let's get some clothes on you. Let's move to the barber shop real quick. We got some photo ops. We got pictures. Because he's a brand. Max B is a brand. You put him in the right spot, he's going to make money. But then you get sponsorships and endorsements, stuff like this. I heard that he's got a billboard in Manhattan right now with Spider or something like that endorsement. But music wise, everybody would have to walk away from him, right? Would people? I mean, who knows? Like 6ix9ine still put out music. I mean, you just never know. You never know. So I gotta take that back. But technically, his reputation would be ruined. Okay. Um, and that would collapse a lot. Can Spider continue to endorse you? Like Young Thug has to stand on anti-rap forever. Okay. I don't believe that people should run with it yet, though, to be honest. I don't think that this is proven. That paperwork could be fake, it could be doctored, but it was released or it was put out and it doesn't look good. All right. Next up, I want to pull up, just imagine how true Jim Jones wants this shit to be. Yo, their feud is crazy, right? Like, and they both running around New York together. I really hope that their camps don't cross paths, but
got done with the Max B interview. Max B had the NY streets flooded. Jimmy acting like he can't see the water rise.
Me and these niggas go back like 40 years.
When you hear that you definitely come home, what's the energy? Because I'm gonna keep it 100. Yo, Kill, I got to talk to the governor in Jersey.
Yeah,
Yo, once I speak to the mayor and these brothers we got coming up.
It was, like I said, you just got to switch the mindset.
Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No.
Max B stepped out those prison gates and the whole city felt it, but Jim Jones couldn't even hide how salty he was. He hopped online calling the celebration.
I see my guy Danza Project in here. Let me bring up your comment because I know that you interviewed Max. Danza says in the paperwork that's online, if you read it, the court wrote Gunna and Mr. Conway. What's up with that? What you mean by that, G? So you mean what we read in that paperwork that's online? If you read it, the court wrote Gunna and Mr. Conway was. Oh, you mean like no official court is supposed to be typing Gunna? Let me pull it back up. Interesting perspective. That could be a catch. That could be a shout out to Danza in the building. Hold on, let's pull it back up. 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 Let's go back to where was that? That was on a particular Instagram profile. I know where to find it. Where do I go? Check it out. Truth Teller TV. Okay, how ironic for the name. All right. Truth Teller TV. Shout out to Truth Teller TV. Here it is here. Okay. So this is what you're talking about, Danza? All right, let's see. On the first page, let's see if I see, because if the all of allegedly Max's answers was yes, but where's the Gunna? Let's see. All right. So now, as you fans, first I'm gonna. There you go, right there, right in the early piece. All right. So now I'm going to ask you some questions about this offense. First, I'm gonna have you go back to the day before that. Yeah, I don't like that, Danza. You're right. I don't like that. I don't like that word at all. That would be if this was happening in closed. Obviously, if it was an open court, then more people would know about it and talk about it. This would be a closed court. If it was in court, right? In which point, then you would just have to blame the stenographer. Okay, if it was real. But if it wasn't in a court setting, there's no stenographer. How do they pull this? If it's happening like a detective box, is somebody rewriting the recording? I gotta look into that. I only understand where the stenographer would come in a closed or open court. But if this was done in a box, I'm not sure. But very, very good call out. Very, very good call out. Misspellings like that. And Dan's, I don't know if you was here earlier. One thing that I said, let's look at this as well. Continue to look at this. We look at a lot of paperwork up here, right? And people, I like to see paperwork where at the top of it, now where I see this number 14, when I see a page number, there shouldn't be too much above that, but above where the writing would start, you see 1 here, so you're starting at sentence 1. I want to see the docket number. I want to see the date. You guys want to see some official paperwork real quick? I'll show you. I'll show you something from a Fed case. Let's go to I'm going to pull up the most recent docket entry from Little Dirk, people, okay? Hold on, let me take this stuff down. Let me take this let me take that down. Check it out. Check it out. I'm gonna show you how fast it takes to to pull up some of these damn cases, especially when you keep trackers on them. Right. But this is the Sorry True podcast. All right. He is in, let me log in. He is in Central California. His case. Let me log in there. Let's go into the district. Let's go into my login here now. Let's go into a query. Let's search his docket number, the MWF-6 John. Let's run the query against that. Let's go to his docket report. Let's run the report. I just get charged for this at the moment, people. It's all good. This is why I buy it for the Sorry True podcast. The last entry is 310. Notice of filing transcript filed to defendant Dirk Banks for proceedings, yada, yada, yada. Let's go to this entry that was November 20th. Oh no, that's sealed. Oh shit, speaking of sealed, look at that, you see? Let's go to 308 from 1120. There we go. Okay, so I'll share this one. This is 3 entries back from most current on Dirk's docket. Okay. And this is what I like to see at the top of people's paperwork. You see case number right here. That's Dirk's case. You see the docket entry number. This is 3 back. This is 308 times his docket was hit with an update or with a motion or with a filing. Filing date, filed 11/20/25. How many pages? Page, yada, yada. The ID number. I don't remember the last time I saw paperwork where that wasn't at the top of it. If it came, hold on. If it came off a docket, meaning electronically, an electronic digital docket posting. Okay. I did say earlier, if this is a physical piece of paper and so because it looks on an angle like somebody took a picture of it, I don't know how that goes. And I don't know if every court district in America is updating their docket entries, especially digital form like this at the top. I'll leave that gray area because I haven't been in every fucking court district for paperwork, right? But me not seeing that made me curious. It did make me curious. Before I go back to that video that we were playing, let me just come back to the chat real quick and see if there's other entries in here where people got any additional insight. Danza with the super says, the documents just released online has written by the court. I'm going to have you go to the day before that, then goes on to list Gina Conway as Mr. Conway. Did you catch that? Ooh. So is it a bad stenographer? No, that's bad. That's bad entries then. Very, very possible. Good catches, good reading. I don't remember last time I've read official paperwork and there were those type of mistakes either. Okay. Good catch. Pooh Sims, you're gonna have to keep the fight alive, man. You're gonna have to keep the fight alive if this is your play. You're gonna have to keep the fight alive. All right. And this is why when you start streams like this, you got to give your disclaimers, people. You don't go whack 100 mode. So far, so good. But let's go back to this video real quick, y'all.
Dumb and trying to label Max B a failure, which is wild because didn't Jim cheer
They caught the op not looking shit. Now we gotta stick down. Look at that. Half these niggas broke the cake.
when Mel came home? The energy switch is loud and it already has people talking. But here's where things get even wilder. Max B just sat down with Cameron and Maze, and Cam straight up claimed that Jim is still scared of Max B after all these years.
I want you to pass it at some point.
Want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out.
So now we got to break down what really went down, why Jimmy's reacting like this, and why Max B, touching freedom again, is shaking his whole foundation.
There was a bitch, her name was Cindy and Mindy. I wasn't sure because I was a tipsy off the river, playing big in the bank. If you cream, my dick was a welcome. I was the ATM machine. Had a sparkle low in my ear. Never on the little lip was blowing on the toe.
Max B, Max Big Avely, is one of those artists where the deeper you look, the more you realize he helped build a whole era of New York rap without ever getting the shine he deserved. His government name is Charlie Wingate, born and raised in Harlem, and he came up in the early to mid 2000s as part of Jim Jones's Bird Gang crew. But here's the kicker. Max wasn't just another rapper in the squad, not even close. He had this loose melodic sing rap flavor that nobody was doing like that back then, carrying a wavy vibe that felt ahead of its time, that half-sung, half-floating New York sound that artists like A$AP Rocky later made mainstream. Max was laying that blueprint way before it became fashionable. Even people who didn't rock with him had to admit he brought something new to the city.
I ain't gonna lie, Max B really inspired my whole rapping career too. I feel like not rapping career, but you see the way I'm making melodies.
Yeah,
he was a big part of that because before I started rapping, I was singing Max B all the time.
So that's been a side debate. All right. That's the one where I say people in today's world got different gray areas. If you live by the Omerta and Mafia, you know the route they're gonna go. But the whole one of Max B allegedly saying, my ex-girl that, you know, the girl is out now. This is where she lives or this is where she works. You know, that one's been talked about, and everybody's gonna have a different position on that. Y'all put in the chat, what's your position on that? I don't have all the context around it, but some people don't live context when you apply some straightforward black and white street code. You know, let's say allegedly, if Max B told the authorities where this girl that allegedly gave the drop of where she lives and where she works, how do y'all feel about it? Do you want more context? Do you feel like he was just answering a general question and it's like some Young Thug attempt I'm trying to spin? Do you feel like you say anything like that, you bad? Or do you say, oh no, that can't hurt you, that's okay? Everybody's different with that. So y'all drop in the chat how y'all feel about that.
Max was dropping tapes like crazy. $1 Million Baby, the Public Domain series, Coke Wave with French Montana, and every single one turned into a cult classic. Even without mainstream push, he was the rapper other rappers secretly studied. But in 2006, right when he had real momentum, everything flipped. Max got pulled into a robbery situation that changed his whole path. And here's how the night went down. On September 22nd, 2006, Max B's ex-girlfriend Gina Conway told him about a guy she just met, Alan J. Plowden, and how he was flashing serious money around. Instead of ignoring it and keeping his focus, Max decided this would be his next move. He sent his stepbrother, Kelvin Ledoux, to handle the robbery and told Gina to ride along. They pulled up to Plowden's room at a Holiday Inn in Fort Lee, ready to get to that bag. Gina knocked, and another woman, Giselle Neve, opened the door. Giselle said Plowden was asleep, but that's when Kelvin pulled out the gun and held Giselle at gunpoint while Gina used duct tape on her. The whole spot turned chaotic fast. They started ripping the room apart looking for the bag, tossing everything, but they couldn't find a thing. So they woke Plowden up, taped him down too, and started pressing him about the money. He kept saying there was nothing in the room, so Kelvin forced him to call his partner David Taylor to bring the cash over. But when Taylor walked in, he instantly started fighting with Kelvin. Things got wild, and the gun went off. Taylor was fatally shot right there. After the chaos, Gina grabbed Giselle's purse and took the $800 out of Taylor's pockets while Kelvin snatched his watch. And this is what they threw their whole futures away for: gas money and a couple accessories. It makes the whole thing look even more tragic. Once they dipped, Plowden told the hotel staff what happened, and when police rushed the room, they caught him in the middle of trying to hide $30,000. He literally got hit with his own charges because he was still shuffling the cash around. A few days later, Gina got picked up, and she instantly told detectives everything about Max, Kelvin, the plan, every detail. Max and Kelvin were arrested not long after, and Max got slammed with the $2 million bail.
Let his kids go. Where's going?
Talk about what Pac in the chat. He don't sound like Pac. He don't sound like no Pac to me.
Let's see it, nigga. Hold up.
By 2009, Gina took a plea deal on manslaughter and armed robbery and agreed to testify while facing up to 18 years. Fast forward to May 2009, Max and Kelvin's trial kicked off, and on June 9th, 2009, both of them were convicted on 9 out of 11 charges, including felony murder. Max was hit with a 75-year sentence, and Kelvin got a life sentence plus 35 years. The very next day, Max's ex Gina was sentenced to 15 years.
Why y'all having this whole Tupac Max B conversation in the chat? Yo, guys, he called himself Big Avell. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he still does call himself Max Big Avell. Like, duh, what is the name? What does it always mean? Big Avell, the bigger is the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, and the Vel is the Machiavelli for Tupac. Like, yeah, so he definitely was influenced by those guys. And while y'all in here, man, leave Big alone, man. Yeah, he says some bullshit in his time, but leave Big alone, all right? He fucked up. That's something he would take back, okay?
Max tried to appeal the situation, but in August 2012, the appeal was rejected, locking in his 75-year bid at the time. But then in 2016, the whole situation flipped again when Max B's conviction got tossed out because it came out that his original lawyer had a serious conflict of interest.
I would never work for that cornball ass again. Me, I'm a boss. I'm not with that. It's never nothing no more. Like, I look like a boss, I feel like a boss, I taste like a boss. Max Big Avell. Get out of here, man. So Jim Jones, compare the names. Look, Max Big Avell. Jim Jones. That don't even add up. They're not on my level, man.
His sentence got dropped to 20 years after he pleaded guilty to aggravated manslaughter, changing everything about his future. Jump to November, and Max finally touched freedom after nearly 16 years behind bars. Friends and family pulled up to welcome him home, including his longtime collaborator, French Montana. French posted a video of him greeting Max outside the prison gates and wrote in the caption, "Can't make this up. My brother really came home on my B-day. Humla, no more free you." It hit the internet like a bomb. Now let's slide straight into the messy part, the tension between Max B and Jim Jones.
Like, for instance, I'm gonna keep it talk. That's kind of how I missed out on Max B. I'm just being straight up honest. And Jim ended up signing him because Jim seen the vision, because Jim had an outside vision of Max. I grew up with Max. Charlie Rambo, play all day, joking all the time. So when he came to me and said he's gonna start rapping, I was like, yo, Charlie, stop playing. His exact words was killing him. Look, let's get this clicking like Dorothy's heels.
Max B, he wasn't Max B. His name was Charlie Rambo. He got out of jail. He come up to me. This is word for word. So I'm like, Charlie, what on? You guys say, yo, Flea, I just came home. I said, I said, you always just come. He said, yo, Flea, you know how to rap now. Let's get this clicking like Dorothy's heels.
When Max first locked in with Bird Gang and Dipset, he wasn't just tagging along. He was doing real heavy lifting. He wrote hooks, helped craft verses, and some people even say he played a part in major records like We Fly High.
From a few things that I'm saying, but you don't know the slam. Like, when you got locked up, you don't know the slander that I get. Cam, how the you let it go this way? From the same, like, what the how to go, da-da-da. I'm like, yo, I ain't seen it. Yo, I ain't seen this gonna be playing niggas in and out of jail all the time, man. I ain't seen this shit was gonna happen. Niggas be ready to take my head off about this shit.
Niggas, you ain't a prophet.
Yeah.
They want you to be about prophet.
Yeah, listen, man. And I listen, I'm first tell you, I missed out and I didn't see it because you was too much of my nigga and I didn't see the vision. And sometimes what it is, not even talking about you, because you turned out to be something.
You still got me in though.
Oh no,
you did everything in your. You was like, look, go see, bro.
Yeah, but listen, we boomerang. We here now. We ain't.
I ain't say go see, bro. You talking about Jim, right?
I'm just saying, like, that's how.
Right.
Even you acknowledge, like, still, like, damn, I got Jaja, I got this nigga, I got Rev, I got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said, nah, boom.
But here's where the drama kicks in. According to Max, he never got proper credit or fair money for any of it. He said he was basically being used. He'd put in the work, help create the sound, and Jim would stack the checks while Max walked away with almost nothing. We're talking shows where Jones was making serious money, and Max was getting paid a couple $100, barely anything for the work he was putting in.
Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No. Now we get past now. We can get past that now. You want to get past it? Or you want to dive more into it? Or you want me to tweak it?
I want you to pass it at some point.
You want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out. Now, what I want for myself, I want for my brother.
I appreciate it.
You see what I'm saying? Because there's too much money out here, there's too much life out here, and I like to do the things that I like to do. Ain't nothing feel better than living right now.
You're right.
But this whole situation wasn't just about money. It was about respect. Max said Jim never treated him like an equal, even though he was carrying a huge part of the creative weight behind the scenes. That disrespect kept stacking up, and eventually, Max walked away from Bird Gang for good. After leaving, he teamed up with French Montana, and they started dropping music that openly pushed back at Jim Jones and showed people who really built those hits. They didn't hide anything. They put it all out there loud. Jim, on the other hand, claimed he never tried to mess up Max B's money and that he was just doing what he was taught by his own mentors. But here's what Jim conveniently didn't mention. He never gave Max his publishing back on his own. Max had to sue him for it, and the court forced Jim to return it. That part says a lot. Cameron even
Max sued Jim? That's my first time hearing that. I never heard that before.
Spoke on this, and he always stood with Max. Cam said Jim has a pattern of trying to control people and taking credit for things he didn't fully create. Cam actually planned to sign Max before Bird Gang, but he admitted he didn't catch the vision early enough before Jim grabbed him up. That changed the whole path. Even after everything, Max and Cam stayed cool, and when Max came home, he sat down for an interview with Cam and Maze. And the wild part, they didn't mention Jim at all. They kept it focused on their Harlem days, Max's time inside, and what he wants to build next. But even with Max coming home to love and support, Jim Jones still couldn't keep his cool. Instead of welcoming the moment or showing growth, he went online throwing shade, calling the celebration pointless, and trying to clown Max like he wasn't a major part of Dipset's legacy. That reaction told the whole story without him even realizing it. Because let's be real, Max being free brings back all the old conversations Jim never wanted to have in public. Who really wrote what? Who carried the sound? Who built the wave? All of that pops right back up the second Max steps into the light again, and Jim knows it. That's why his energy been shaky since day one. Meanwhile,
I don't know. I just hope that those guys just don't cross paths. That's all for now, at least. But I pulled it up real quick because that was my first time hearing that. I missed that one, y'all. Max B might be serving 75 years. Obviously, this is an old article. When was this posted? Do we got a date? This was posted 2010. Damn, this situation happened a while ago then. Max B might be serving 75 years in prison, 75-year prison sentence for robbery and murder. But this isn't the last you've heard from him. Prior to heading off to do his bid, the Harlem native recorded his debut vigilante season. Remember all that shit? For Amalgam Digital. I remember that too. Joe Budden did some stuff with Amalgam Digital as well, right? But the album was put on ice under the pretense that Dipset member Jim Jones controlled the rights over the incarcerated MC's work. But now the album may finally see the light of day. A New York judge ruled that the capo no longer owns the rights to Max B's catalog, ruling that he had fulfilled his obligations to both his 2005 recording and the 2007 songwriting contract. Remember the video of Max B saying, they was just like, yo, Jim say you owe him music, you owe him some out. He got all his music. He got drives to drives. He got all his music. Same thing with the ruling here, though. 2005 recording and 2007 songwriting contract. This means that the vigilante season may be available to the public in the immediate future, giving Max B the first official retail release of his career. So I may have to stand corrected there. It's very possible that he was making some money off of his music while he was still in jail. Interesting. And then it's kind of weird if I don't got the actual video or the quote directly from Jim up here, but it was mentioned in that video that Jim said, you know, I wasn't trying to take advantage of Max B. I was just doing what I was taught, you know, and there's that back and forth between Jim and Cam, and Jim pretty much calling Cam out for bad business or, you know, not giving him things that he should have been privy to when they was together. I don't know. But if Jim did say that, I just did to Max what was done to me, that don't make it right. We talk from kids, two wrongs don't make it right. But anyway, it was then he became an affiliate of the Diplomats, working especially. All right, so we already know the history. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Title says Max B may be in trouble from new paperwork. So there's some call outs that happen in the chat. Once again, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Danza of some mistypings in that document. I said when the stream first started, I like to see a docket number and all that type of stuff. When I showed the example of like even from Lil Durk's docket at the top of every paper of all paperwork. And then the other key that I gave, you know, that's a little bit more on Max's side, is when we looked at the appeal from Pooh Sims on Justia.law, that appeal was 13 years later. And still, it didn't have, of all the 9 entries of Max B's name by government in that appeal, we didn't see anything that would call out the appeal being related to something that was false or done wrong or a lie or anything call outs related to Mr. Wingate. We pulled it up right here. So what's good, homie? Good to see you as always. Member for 27 months, super OG of the channel. Salute ARRBE, Brick by Brick, and RYD. Ruin your day, of course. What's this one right here? Just from reading this title, I know this bullshit. There ain't no new paperwork, and I know Max B, he is not no snitch. Shaking my head. Y'all gotta find better stuff to do. Shaking my head, pitiful. Not surprised. How are you okay? Are you Max B's cousin? Dude, relax. Steve go shoot. Relax. So the title is actually not clickbait. It's true. And if you listen to the stream, instead of being that much of a water boy for Max B, what you realize as soon as the stream started, if you listen instead of just go so much for your boy, your I guess you're on his payroll, you know him personally, you're his bloodline, right? You better be. But if you listen to the intro, right? I said it's a different day. People have already cleared him, people like such as myself. But the guy Pooh Sims, his co-defendant, who's serving life, is feeding stuff to the public, and a document that came from him hits the internet. Let's cover it the same way we would cover all the good of Max. And you should join those streams too when we do the good Max B streams, or when I did the first stream covering Max and saying, well, I don't see nothing, I just see the girl. You should have been lighting up the comments then too. Okay, put his water bottle down, relax. All right. It's called coverage of topics, and then we weed through it and figure out where we stand. Water boy. Water boy ass nigga. I appear to be smarter than you. All right. A genius to you, water boy. Chill out. You got me calling people out in the chat out of their name, and that's not really disrespectful, calling you a water boy. I don't even talk to my chat like this. But I don't like when people miss the context of the intro, and they're that biased for their favorite rapper that they see the title and they want to just come in here and be like, oh no, don't say nothing about Max B. Put the water bottle down. All right, relax. We brought up some shit that his co-defendant put out. Fuck, I don't got no fucking loyalty to not cover what Max B's co-defendant is doing. I don't know this nigga. The fuck? As a matter of fact, have a good day. How about that? You don't need to be in the chat. All right. Last but not least, I thought this was bugged out. How many of y'all have this in your crib? Am I the only one? Is it just me? Right? It's still sealed. It's probably been in this crib for years. I don't drink this shit. I'm not even a tequila guy, right? I have a nice little bar in my crib, and I keep a bunch of stuff that's just popular. You know, I keep a bunch of stuff that like 97% of the liquor that's in my bar, I don't fuck with. It's just for when, you know, you have guests over, you have people that, yeah, I'm into this. You're into brown, you're into clear, you're into wine, you're into champagne. You know, I cover all the bases. So I got this. Once again, because people drink the shit. Never knew any stories or anything behind it. I saw this come across the internet on my gram, and I was like, wait, what? Say word. Say word that this is George Clooney's product. Didn't know. George Clooney made $300 million as an actor, then accidentally made $1 billion from tequila. He never planned to sell it. Now it's the most profitable role of his life. I will always know him for being one of the greatest actors out of Hollywood. And he's made how much more? $1 billion from this that he stumbled on. Now, when I say stumbled on, Pete, look at the story of it. They didn't want to start a business. They just wanted a tequila that didn't burn, going down, tasted great with food, could be drank all day without a hangover, him and his friends. Okay, in 2013, Clooney was living part-time in Mexico. He and his friend, Randy Gerber, yes, Cindy Crawford's husband, had one simple problem. They couldn't find a perfect tequila. Okay, so they teamed up with the local distillery and started making it for themselves. No branding, no pitch, just bottles labeled for personal use. They called it Casamigos, House of Friends, and it stayed a private passion project for years. For years, they didn't go to market. It was just for us for years. That's when you also know you got a lot of money. We got so much money when we hang out, we want our own liquor that we like for whatever reasons. So he obviously got some fucking him and his rich friends, but no public sales. No public sales. Just Clooney and Gerber's inner circle sipping in silence. But word got out. Friends started asking for bottles, then restaurants, then distributors. Just like that. It wasn't even legal to sell at first. They had to apply for proper licenses because the tequila made just for fun was suddenly in high demand. So they turned the side project into a real business, launched Casamigos commercially in 2013. No celebrity endorsements, no flashy campaigns. Clooney refused to slap his face on it. He believed the product should speak for itself, and it did. Casamigos exploded. By 2016, Casamigos was the fastest growing tequila in the US. A drink created by accident was dominating a $10 billion industry full of century-old competitors. Then Diageo is the company that Diddy was suing. He had to give that up when his trial came around, right? They're like the super heavyweights. Some people put out the opinion, such as 50 Cent, that that's even why Diddy's issues started, because you're playing with powerful companies and corporations such as Diageo. Next thing you know, they put all your dirt out or whatever. That was a theory. That was a theory. But anyway, then Diageo, the global liquor giant behind Johnny Walker and Guinness, came calling. In 2017, they made an offer, $700 million up front, plus $300 million in performance bonuses. There goes your billion. Now, did they buy it because they saw the plan? Did they buy it because they saw the competition in it? Is it all of the above? You never know. But if Diageo come and knock on your door, there's a big money play involved. $1 billion. $1 billion exit for a tequila that started with no business plan and no marketing team, just two guys drinking in their backyard. So, of course, they continue to drink it for the original purposes, right? But they walk away with $1 billion. Clooney's cut over $230 million from a passion project he never meant to scale. It was the biggest payday of his career, and it didn't come from acting. He once said, if you asked us 4 years ago if we had $1 billion company, I don't think we'd have said yes. But that's exactly what happened. Casamigos changed the game. Not bad for a guy who just wanted a good drink and accidentally built generational brand. That is insane to me. I love stories like that. Every once in a while, as y'all notice, this podcast, I'm going to toss some of those towards the end of the stream just to have fun, just the worldly type of news. And here you have it. I saw it and I was like, I got that. And I don't know if the light ruins it at all, but if you have this, people, you'll see in the bottom left corner, is a little signature, autograph or whatever, saying George Clooney. It's supposed to be like his signature. Obviously, he didn't write on the bottle himself. They reprint it, and I guess that's on the right side is his partner, Randy or whatever. I would have never known. George Clooney's name is on this shit. And you want to know what's dope too? I do believe there are a lot of business ventures that take off because of the brand or the branding or the name behind it. All right. I don't know. This went back forever. Snoop Dogg or whatever saying St. Ives, Boys in the Hood got OE 40 ounces. You want to try the beer, right? Speaking of the dips, since we did the dips today, there's Scissor. Not even the greatest tasting drink, but they was running around promoting it. Bird Gang and everything was in the videos. Hey, let's try it. I'm not a champagne guy, but because Ace of Spades, whatever, Jay-Z shit, let me try it, right? The power of marketing, the power of these people. I mean, shit, go ask Nike and Michael Jordan. One of the biggest marketing stories in the world and partnerships in the world from a branding standpoint. Michael Jordan and Nike, all right? There are obviously a billion success stories, including one of the biggest ones I just said. But there's also times where I feel like, yeah, if you keep it discreet, you could avoid the hate. You could avoid the jealousy, and especially if your product is built on pure quality. the name behind it won't matter. And then you'll find out 20 years later or $1 billion later that a George Clooney was behind it. You know, you get to avoid your haters or all of that. Now, of course, I guess if you do your homework behind a big product like this that starts to hit the market, you'll find out George Clooney. But I didn't know. I don't know. What if it's even stupid stuff like tied to his Hollywood brand of never drinking or smoking, but he owns a, you know, that happened to 50 a little bit. 50 always came out and promoted that he don't smoke or he don't drink, but he had FN vodka. So it was just like, huh? You know? So I don't know. Cool story to me though. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys have this in your crib? Do you drink it? I don't know. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you what it tastes like. I'm not, some of y'all be drinking that shit straight. Y'all got it. Yeah, that's, I just brought it up, Henry Stees, or Harry Stees. Shout out to our members in the building. Yeah, I think that's crazy. I think that's dope. All right, we done for the day. Cool stream. We were waiting to see if this Pooh Sims guy was going to come back on Thanksgiving. So these documents hit the internet. There's some flaky stuff in it. We've had like 4 different call outs about the papers or the documents. But glad we followed up because we said we would. So for now, we get to leave it there. But, you know, as always, we'll continue to keep our eye on things. All right, people? Yeah, keep your eye on the channel for clips. Keep your eye on the channel for new shorts. There is an exclusive that I'm going to try to record today, but don't hold me to it, for members only. I'm going to try. But worst case scenario, we'll be back tomorrow live, y'all. All right. Enjoy y'all Saturday. We out.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.
Without, I think still got a gun.